Hello students, today we will discuss Cambridge A-Level Physics Past Paper 1-1, May-June 2023. My name is Nariman Malim, email and mobile is given. This is the cover page. It is multiple choice paper for both A-Level and AS. First you have some data, so this data will be provided. Here, for example, is charge of electron. We will use this value and some formulas. We will use this formula for initial velocity, final velocity, displacement and acceleration. Also, we will use this formula for Doppler effect. And that's it. Okay, first question. Which unit is not an SI base unit? So you should remember 7 base units, which are Kelvin, Ampere, kilogram, meter, second, candela, and mole. So coulomb is not. What is the best estimate of the number of atoms in a piece of metal of volume so much? Size of atom is 10 minus 10. Volume, if we consider it as a cube, 10 minus 30, 50 centimeter cube is converted into meter cube, and this volume is divided by volume of one atom, so we get answer B. A copper pipe has a true value of 42.0.3 millimeters. A builder measures the diameter of the pipe 5 times using digital caliper. The measurements are shown. What we see? So measurements are inaccurate as average is too far from the real value, 42 millimeters, but precise as the results are too slightly scattered around 48. So all of them are about 48. So it is answer D, precise but not accurate. Two forces, each of 10 Newton, act at point P as shown. The angle between the directions of forces is 120. What is the magnitude of resultant force? So we can use either triangle rule, so one after another, or parallelogram rule, and we get resultant force. Here it is big arrow. So because angle is 120, so this angle is 60. Equilateral triangle, all angles are 60. So this is 10 Newton. Answer is 10 Newton. And one object moves directly from P to R in a shorter time. A second object moves from P to Q to R. Which statement about the two objects is correct for the journey from P to R? They have the same displacement, so they have initial point and final point, which is the same. A ball is kicked so that it has an initial velocity of 12 meters per second at an angle of 50 degrees to horizontal ground. Assume that the resistance is negligible. So here we have object initial velocity is at some angle, and we are interested in the initial velocity upward, vertical. So for vertical motion we have the following information. G, initial velocity is, so this part, so we use sine 50, and then we use formula, one of the formula from the given formulas. So at the top, final velocity is 0, so initial velocity we calculated using sine rule, not sine rule but using sine, and finally we get answer C. A camera drone of 120 kg hover at a fixed point above the ground. The drone has 4 propellers. In a time of 1 second, each propeller pushes a mass of so much kilogram of vertically downwards. Assumes that air above the propeller is stationary. What is the speed of the air leaving each propeller? So here we use impulse equals change in momentum. So first air is stationary, then it is pushed downwards. So because we have four propellers, we have mass 4m, velocity of air is given, force is, so two forces are acting. One is weight, another is force from propeller. So it is equal. So force is equal to weight of drone multiplied by 1 second. We get impulse, and impulse equals change in momentum. 4 times mass times velocity. And from these equations we can find that answer is C. A box rests on the earth as shown. Newton's third law describes how forces of the same type act in pairs. One of the forces of a pair is the weight of the box, which arrow represents the other force of this pair. So weight is gravitational pull of earth. So the pair is gravitational pull from object. So it is answer A. A small ball is held at the surface of liquid oil in a container. The ball is released from rest and falls through the oil. The ball has velocity v. Viscous drag force acts on the ball. Which graph could show the variation of V of F? So I think that force should be increasing with velocity and not increasing and then decreasing. So answer A. Question 10. An object of mass m1 moving at speed u along a frictionless horizontal surface collides head-on with a stationary object of mass 4m. Let us call after collision velocity of mass mx and velocity of form m y. We know that kinetic energy is decreased 4 times, so we have relation between x and u. X equals minus 0.5 u because it bounced back. Conservation law tells us that momentum before equals momentum after. Here we have unknown y, and after calculations we see that it is 3/8 of u. So answer D. Question 11. The driver of a car applies two parallel forces for a steering wheel as shown. Each force has a magnitude 15 Newton and acts in the direction shown. The steering wheel has a diameter of 0.40. So here we should use not the force but its projection, which is 15 Newton sine 60. So the force is acting perpendicular to the diameter. So torque equals 15 sine 65 multiplied by direction, by distance between the forces. So we get 4.5, answer D. A farmer is trying to lift the corner of a large water tank. She uses a metal rod as a lever. The vertical force from the farmer is constant and is always applied to the end of the rod. Which change must increase the upward force of the tank? So we can, using a longer rod and moving the pivot closer to the tank, will increase moment. And we should apply less force. So moments will be the same, but the force time distance will be greater. So force the same force, but longer distance, greater moment of the force. Question 13. The diagram shows a ball of weight W hanging in equilibrium from a string. Because we have here equilibrium, I draw equilibrium situation when resultant force is zero, so closed triangle. And from for closed triangle we have correct answer C. Which expression for pressure is correct? Of course it is force per unit area. A ball of mass 0.5 and volume so much. The ball is floating in equilibrium on the still water. The two forces that act on the ball are its weight and the upthrust due to the water. The density of water is so much. What is the percentage of the volume of ball above the surface of the water? So, first of all, because it's floating, upthrust, which is rho GV, rho GX, is equal to the weight of the ball. From this relation, we find that its volume is so much. So here x multiplied by rho give us mass. Then we divide this volume by the total volume. We find 38%, and so it is in the water, and above is 62%. Answer is C. A man sits on a buggy that is pulled along the wire attached to the kite. The wire is at an angle of 40 degrees to the horizontal line and has constant tension of 200 Newton. The man and buggy travel a distance of 20 meters along a straight horizontal path. The wire and the path are the buggy in the same vertical. What is the work done by the tension force on the man and buggy? So first of all, the man is moving horizontally, so we need horizontal component of the force, so 2000 Newton over cosines times cosines 40, and the distance, we take the distance because this component moved object to this distance 200, not 200, 20 meters. Question 17. A ball is throwing vertically upwards from surface of the earth. Which statement describes the energy of the ball as it rises through the air? Of course it is kinetic energy of ball decreases as gravitation potential energy increases. A lamp is suspended in equilibrium from a fixed support by 3 long identical wires. The weight of the lamp causes each of the wires to have its tension 0.40 centimeters. The height h of the lamp above the floor is measured. The middle wire suddenly breaks and the lamp falls a small distance as the extension of the remaining 2 wires increases. The wires obey Hooke's law. When the lamp is in equilibrium, the height h of the above of the floor is measured again. What is the difference between the two values of h? So first of all, according to Hooke's law, the force is for each wire. When we have 3 wires, the force is 3 times k extension. So weight of the lamp equals this. On the other side, when one wire breaks, we have now 2k delta x2, and from this relation we can find delta x2 and find the difference 0.20. So answer is A. The force extension graph for a spring is shown. What represents the work done to extend the spring? So it is area under the graph. So area under the graph tells us about the work done. In an experiment, a student uses a microphone, a cathode ray oscilloscope CRA to analyze a second sound wave. The diagram shows the trace of the screen of the CRA. The student is expecting a sinusoidal wavefront to to be shown on the screen. Which changes should student make to the time base and the gain of CRS so that the screen shows a continuous tray of one complete cycle of the form? So gain and time base tell us about the value. So time base tell us about the value of horizontal section part of the squares, and gain tell us about the value of the vertical side of the square. So if we increase both, the picture will squeeze and will show us. So increase both. The graph shows the variation with time of displacement of a particle in a progressive wave. So this is a catch because mostly they ask about wavelength, but here it is time, so this is period and this is amplitude. So answer A. A car travels at a constant speed along the straight line PQ. A loudspeaker attached to the wire emits sound of constant frequency F. A stationary observer is at point O. As loudspeaker approach O, frequency is more at P and decreases to F at point Q. No relative motion. So answer is C. Frequency more than F that decreases as the car moves from P to Q. Some sources of electromagnetic waves in free space are listed. Which list give us the sources only of increasing wavelength? So this we should memorize. Memorize the relation of frequency or wavelengths. So this is from memory. A vertical polarized beam of light is incident normally on a polarizing filter. The transmission and the filter is at angle 40 degrees to the horizontal. According to the picture, so the angle that is in the law, cosine squared theta, angle is not 40 but is 60, sorry. Why 60? 50. Let me change this to 50. Right. And cosine 50 equals 0.64. So answer is 0.64. So angle is complementary to 40. So it makes 90 degrees. Two progressive waves meet at a point. Which condition must be met for superposition of the wave to occur? Superposition is actually displacement of one wave is added to displacement of another wave. So of course they should be of the same type. A string is stretched between a vibration generator and a fixed point. Then the vibration generator is vibrating at a frequency F. Stationary wave with 5 nodes is created on the stretching string as shown. There is a node at the end of the is attached. The frequency of vibration of the vibrating generator is slowly increased. What is the next frequency that produces stationary wave on the string? So what we know that wavelength is directly proportional to the distance between nodes. So lambda 1 directly proportional to L over 4 and lambda 2 is proportional to L over 5. As lambda decreases, frequency increases in the same proportion, so it is 125. Answer A. A ripple tank and a barrier with a single gap are used to demonstrate the diffraction of surface ripple on the water. Initially, the wavelength of the ripples is 5 times smaller than the gap in the barrier, so that's very bad. We should either increase the wavelength or should decrease the gap. Good diffraction when wavelengths equal or more than gap. Halving frequency with double wavelength, better diffraction. So answer is C. A laser produces beam of light. The beam is incident normally on two slits that are a distance of so much. A screen is placed parallel to the slits. The bright interference fringes on the screen have a separation of 0.70. What is the distance between the screen and the two slits? So this is very simple. So here we have formula for distance between fringes. We rewrite this formula for distance between screen and slits, and we get 14 meters. So all calculations are shown. Okay, again, a beam of light from a laser is incident normally on diffraction grating. The diagram shows only the second order maxima that are produced. The grating has line spacing so much. The angle between the two second maximum is 110. What is the wavelength of the light? So this is formula for different maximums produced by laser. So second order means that we should change n to 2. An angle is shown for second order, so angle is from the initial direction 55 degrees. So rewriting formula for lambda, we calculate and we get answer A. The electric current is in a metal wire is 4 milliamperes. How many electrons pass a fixed point in a wire in a time of 10 hours? So we should first calculate the charge. Charge is current multiplied by time. Time is 10 hours by 3600 because we turn it into seconds. And then we divide total charge by charge of one electron, which is given in data, and we get answer C. Some mistake probably. Okay. 31. What is the definition of potential difference across an electrical component? The energy transferred per unit charge. So potential difference is voltage, energy per charge. For potential difference dissipated, and for electromotive force gain energy. Which graph shows the IV characteristic of filament lamp? So this is better to memorize, but to understand the graph, as voltage increase, the filament becomes hotter, so resistance increase and current increase not so much as voltage, resistance is increasing. A metal wire has a length so much and cross-section area so much. The resistivity of metal is so much. The wire is stretched so that its length increases to 265. The wire remains cylindrical and the volume of the wire remains constant. As length increases, area increases in the same amount of time, so equation is resistance rho LA, and we should get answer B. Which circuit symbol represents the microphone? I found the picture from textbook. A battery with internal resistance is connected to a fixed resistor, an ammeter and voltmeter as shown. The battery is replaced by different batteries that has the same electromotive force but a great internal resistance. What happens to the reading of the ammeters and voltmeter? So great internal resistance means that will get less current. Less current means that they will have less voltage. Four potential divider circuits each consist of battery of electromotive force 9 volt and negligible internal resistance connected to a combination of resistors. Each resistor in the circuit has a resistor of X or 2X. Which circuit has the largest output voltage? So potential divider, here it is half 4.5, here is greater than 4.5, here is less than, here is less than, greater by 4.5, but total resistance is less. So which circuit has the largest output voltage? So we consider here we have less voltage, less than 4.5. We consider B and D. So if we calculate, so here resistance will be less than X, but not so much. So if you calculate voltage of potential divider, we'll get B. And voltmeter is connected into the circuit with polarity shown. The sliding contact is moved to the end of P and then to the end Q. What are readings of the voltmeter? So of course, if we connect voltmeter to point P, we will measure 3 volts. But if we also include some voltage from potentiometer, we will get greater voltage. So answer is D. 38. A proton has mass mp and charge +2. What are the mass and charge of antiproton? So mass is the same, charge is negative. Uranium nucleus have 92 protons and 143 neutrons. The nucleus emits a total of 3 alpha particles and 4 beta minus particles to form nucleus X. How can nucleus X be represented? So first we have 92 protons and 143 neutrons. So 3 alpha particles means we have minus 6 pair minus 6n. So finally we have 86 protons, 137 neutrons. After 4 beta emissions, we get more protons and less neutrons. So we get 90 protons, 133 neutrons, but here we have lower value is charge or number of protons, upper value is number of nucleons. So number of nucleons is 223, so answer is D. And last question, which statement about a proton is correct? A proton is baryon but not a meson. Actually, meson is relatively, if we consider mass, so the heaviest particle is proton, smallest particle is electron, and meson is in between. So, and proton consists of 3 baryons, so it is baryon.